Now we have more water contamination found in Michigan. Pure Michigan, they call it. Well, the water doesn't seem to be poor in Michigan. Headline, fish advisories issued for Michigan lakes, river impacted by PFAS contamination. The state government this week issued new fish consumption advisories for lakes and rivers in 3 counties after tests confirmed the presence of toxic chemicals. Fish in 3 lakes and a section of the Au Sable River were tested as part of state response to revelations about per and polyfluoroalkyl substances, also called PFAS or PFCs, according to Michigan Department of Health and Human Services. The test found elevated levels of one of those chemicals, PFAS, as well as mercury in multiple fish species collected from Freska Lake and Versluis Lake in Kent County, Lake Margrethe in Crawford County, and a section of the Au Sable River between Grayling and Mio. Those discoveries prompted the department to issue new, quote, eat safe fish guidelines for fish caught in the 4 waterways announced by the state. The PFAS chemicals found at elevated levels at a few dozen sites across the state have been linked in human studies to certain cancers, thyroid disorders, elevated cholesterol, and other diseases. In 2012, the state issued a do not eat advisory for all fish caught in Clark's Marsh and the lower Au Sable River downstream on the former Wirt Smith Air Force Base, where high levels of PFAS chemicals were found in groundwater. The chemicals have been found there and at other military bases as a reminder of their presence in firefighting foam used there. Neighbors of an industrial dump site near Belmont recently discovered they were drinking well water with PFAS levels well above the federal benchmark, at which chronic exposure is considered unsafe. So I could keep going on, but basically PFAS chemicals are what they have found across the country. They are found when companies, particularly DuPont, have been dumping cancer-causing chemicals used in the production of things like Teflon and other cooking software. Cooking product. They've been dumped in North Carolina, they've been dumped in Ohio, and they've been dumped in West Virginia. And DuPont had to settle for $681 million lawsuit settlement last year because people died in West Virginia and the Ohio River Valley. Right now, North Carolina has lawsuits against DuPont's subsidiary, Chemours, because they were dumping this PFAS chemicals, which cause cancer, autoimmune issues, issues and stillbirths. And now they're finding it in this area across Michigan, it says. Not to mention, we still know the water in Flint is poisoned, which I've reported about. But these chemicals are very dangerous, and because we live in the United Corporations of America, and there is really zero regulation on corporations, and even before Trump, the Environmental Protection Agency was not strongly enforcing regulations. So this is going on in Michigan. Meanwhile, the Flint crisis is still a crisis, yet the government keeps telling you, don't believe your lying eyes. As I recently reported, they found elevated lead levels of lead in Flint public schools. And I'm working on a piece that currently One Magazine is looking at about the fraudulent science being used to declare Flint water, quote, normal compared to other cities. But it's not just the fish that should be concerning. And again, this is fish in 3 lakes in a section of the Au Sable River were tested in Michigan. That would be species collected from Freska Lake and Versluis Lake in Kent County, Lake Margrethe in Crawford County, and a section of the Au Sable River between Grayling and Mio. This is also happening. We've seen contamination near Army bases in Ohio. We've also seen, I just tweeted about it today. Let me find that tweet for you. Yeah, North Carolina Army base now has water contamination close. In the Atlantic community in Carteret County, they have groundwater contamination near a North Carolina military base. So this is happening everywhere. Meanwhile, CNN's headline right now is Russia a friend or foe of the United States? So don't worry about your water, folks. Let's just keep the McCarthyism going. Let's keep the censorship going on YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook. Let's make sure that people can't get their news about water contamination, about other environmental genocide, about corruption on the state and local level. We don't want any of that.